A constitutional amendment in California passed by just 2 votes, and that's only the first strange historical fact in this set. From a castle erased in a month to a barrack found in a garden, these stories show how history often turns on details textbooks leave out. California approved a constitutional amendment in 1908 by just 2 votes out of more than 185,000 cast. This was a statewide constitutional amendment, not a small local measure. More than 185,000 ballots were included in the final count. The decision came down to the final tally, where approval finished 2 votes ahead of rejection. That narrow margin made every ballot part of the outcome. Because the count crossed the line, the amendment entered California's constitutional record. A statewide result that large was settled by a margin most elections never come close to seeing. That 1908 result left a simple fact behind. In a statewide vote, 2 ballots separated a constitutional change from defeat. In a crowd of 185,000, 1 vote could still matter. Gdańsk Castle was taken down in just 1 month. It was a major fortified structure, not a small building, so the speed is what stands out. The castle was dismantled deliberately, so the work could move in a planned sequence instead of fading away over centuries. Once the work began, the site disappeared fast enough to make the timeline remarkable. A landmark that once dominated the area was gone, and the month-long removal left only the cleared ground behind. A barrack from Beaune-la-Rolande was found in a private garden in 2013, still carrying detainees' graffiti from 1942. Beaune-la-Rolande was an internment camp, and the barrack was a real structure from that site. By 2013, it had ended up outside the camp and inside a private yard. The surviving wood still held graffiti left by detainees in 1942. Those marks tied the building material to the people who lived through the camp. That made the barrack more than reused timber. It became direct evidence from the camp, found in an ordinary garden. A backyard structure had become a wartime trace, linking a private garden to Beaune-la-Rolande through one surviving wall and its 1942 markings. The U.S. Navy sold USS Severn as part of a discreet warship building scheme. On paper, it looked like a simple disposal decision. In practice, the sale was tied to making room for another warship project. Selling one vessel helped clear the path for procurement, the process of getting a new ship built. The disposal and the build were linked inside the same plan. That meant a routine-looking sale could carry a hidden purpose. The transaction helped the Navy move one ship out while another advanced quietly. USS Severn became part of a naval transaction that only made sense when the larger plan was known. The sale itself was the cover for a quieter kind of shipbuilding. Radnik was banned after calling Jesus a socialist, communist, and revolutionary. It was the first socialist newspaper in the Balkans, published in the Principality of Serbia from April 1871 to May 1872. Svetozar Marković founded it, and it ran 3 times a week. Radnik mostly covered domestic politics, but it also printed socialist ideas, the First International, the Civil War in France, and quotations from Marx. That mix of religion and radical politics crossed a line, and the authorities moved to suppress the paper. The ban ended a short-lived paper that also backed free education and South Slav unification while opposing Greater Serbia policy. Lorenzo Thompson threw Abraham Lincoln in a wrestling match. The famous name in that bout was Lincoln, not Thompson. It was a direct physical contest, not a political contest. Thompson won by throwing Lincoln, the basic move that ended the match. That is the whole oddity. The future president was the one sent down. The result was a simple reversal in a public bout. Lincoln left as the man who had been thrown, not the man who did the throwing. That small contest survives as an early life anecdote about Lincoln. It keeps a future president in an ordinary ring, where one throw was enough to be remembered. Governor Anarata was pardoned by 2 Ava kings, then died shortly after the second pardon. His case was tied to allegiance to Hanthawadi, in a time when loyalties between Ava and Hanthawadi could shift under pressure. 2 different Ava kings chose mercy after that loyalty had already been judged. The second pardon repeated the first, instead of reversing the political fault line. Shortly after the second pardon, Anarata died. The mercy did not have time to change the outcome. That left a brief final reprieve on record, pardoned twice, then gone soon after, with the last mercy ending in death. In the Lozi kingdom, kingship depended on powerful ancestral royal spirits still acting in the present. Those spirits were not treated as distant memories. They were part of political ideology, so authority had a spiritual dimension, not only a human one. That belief meant a king's power depended on an ongoing relationship with ancestors. The dead were understood as active forces shaping present rule. So authority was anchored in more than lineage, it was tied to a living bond between the monarchy and royal spirits. In practice, rule was framed as ancestry made present, not ancestry left behind. The monarchy stood inside a continuing spiritual relationship. If one vote, 1 month, or one hidden object can change the story, the past gets a lot more surprising. Subscribe for more history facts, and tell us which one you'd never heard before.